hands together for all that is Jason Markoff.
Well, normally this isn't something I talk about, but you know, the risk of sounding desperate, I'm just going to say it. I'm ready for a commitment. I'm looking for a sparring partner, someone to go toe to toe with me. You know, who, you know, will encourage me, but you know, keep me honest. You know, appreciates my experience, but you know, will bitch slap me around when I start to brag too much. You know, I want someone to fence with. And I mean that literally. I want a fencing partner. I don't mean like landscaper, carpenter, black market stolen goods expert. I mean like Inigo Montoya. I probably just said I'm looking for Inigo Montoya because that, I'm sorry if that sounded romantic. I get a little passionate with my words sometimes. No, I'm you know, I'm not a romantic guy. I'm more like a discount pork chop on the clearance section at Ralph's. Maybe I'm about to expire, but it's a good piece of meat for the price. Like, what else you got going on tonight? Apparently a lot. But really, I'm really just looking for someone to fence with. And I don't even need to win anymore. I've been a fencing instructor and competitive fencer for nearly 2 decades. Like I have achieved, I have medals, I have trophies, I got little tiny swords dipped in gold, all of them lost somewhere in a storage facility outside of Chicago. And I feel like a walking graveyard of talent. I mean, the crime of my life is that I'm not fencing right now, or at least teaching a bunch of high school kids how to channel their passion for Lord of the Rings into an athletic skill that'll get them into college and maybe might get them laid one day. In conjunction with other things, it's possible. It's a niche market. And speaking from experience, I can tell you what that market is. Renaissance fairs. I had a time machine. I would go back in time and stop myself from ever working at the Renaissance fair. Like a day at the fair is magical, you know? Like watch a joust, get knighted, wrestle that fucking swan who stole your turkey leg. But after like, you know, after 2 summers of having Robin Hood call you a fairy, you realize it's just high school all over again, but this time with shitty British accent. And speaking of shitty, I never once used the bathroom there. 2 years, sun up, sun down, not once, not interested in Wisconsin's interpretation of Shakespeare's Privy. And if I sound emotional, it's because, you know, my inner child loved the Ren Fair. I mean, maybe I got into fencing because I wanted to slay dragons and save the princess, but I can't go back because I know the truth. Queen Elizabeth is a stripper. Sure, the royal stripper. All right, Virgin Queen, my ass. Everyone working the Renaissance Fair is a stripper. All right, Laszlo selling turkey legs, stripper. Sonia fitting for a fancy hat, stripper. Oh, Colette with the belly dancer balancing the sword on her head. She's just trying to pay back her loans from MIT. That kid wearing all green, sitting on the tree stump, playing the pan flute is an elf. Stay the fuck away from him. They are way meaner off camera. But I think I've been the fencer at the Ren Fair, but there's a certain expectation when you work with strippers, you know, how things are going to end. And, you know, it's just not a fairy tale if it doesn't have a happy ending. And, you know, really when it comes down to it, the Ren Fair is a sex carnival. It's pretty much like a furry convention, except instead of cartoon animals, everyone's a peasant or a duchess or a pirate or a gypsy. And now, thanks to Game of Thrones, if you're blonde, doesn't matter what gender you are Daenerys Targaryen. I just kind of wish I could have appreciated it at the time. I'm lying. I absolutely did. I'm a total whore. I mean, everyone's walking around with their tits and cock out, strutting around, you know, their kids are running around, waving wooden swords, watching horses take massive shits. And by the way, it's the kids you got to watch out for. They're unpredictable. They're not trying to get laid. The biggest mistake I ever made was letting my guard down around a kid. A little brown, you know, little brown-haired, curly-head 6-year-old comes up to me and he says, "Sebastian," because that was my name, "can I see your sword?" So I strike a heroic wide-legged stance. I unclasp my incredibly safe, blunted practice saber, and as I'm about to show it to him, he kicks me square in the balls. I drop like a stone. Everyone laughs. King Arthur rides over on his horse, unsheathed Excalibur, points it at me and says, "You will never be a knight of the round table."
Uh-oh.
There's no coming back from that. Like, you're done. But you know what? I did come back, maybe not at the fair, but I went to Harvard. All right. Not for anything smart. I mean, I just got my MFA in acting, which, by the way, every once in a while you run into someone at a workshop or a class who's like, "Oh, I don't need this. I'm just putting this on my resume." Guess what? Nobody cares. But, I have to apologize. I don't mean to sound like a cynic. I am an optimist. I think it's a beautiful world. I think it's incredible that someone like me got to get into Harvard despite being afflicted with chronic resting dumb face. So parents, future parents, remember, all right, sign your kid up for fencing, send in the application. It can happen. And your son or daughter can know the joy of sharing a studio apartment with 2 cats, waiting tables at a barbecue restaurant, and driving a car that is old enough to legally drive and drink. Thank you all very much.
Ladies, this is also a singles event. If you like Jason, DM me. Okay, coming to the stage now. Thank you, Jason. Great job.